About a month ago, I relocated this little diesel heater from right over here, directly above the wall exhaust outlet, to that away, which is about as far over as I could move it because there's a wall electrical outlet there and a door and all that. So I relocated it using a 72-inch exhaust extension made specifically for this purpose, and that came with this little muffler. The muffler, in addition to being some additional surface area to radiate heat into the room here, also has the effect of being a coupling between that extension exhaust tube and the exhaust tube that I had already run outside. I made kind of a loop-de-loop out of it because you can't really cut this corrugated stuff along the edge of it. You have to use kind of the smooth ends to make it couple cleanly. So you can't cut it, so I just made a loop, and that was a proof of concept that I was able to recover some of the heat back into the environment instead of losing it out into the outdoors. But I decided to make it a bit more elegant than that, using just stuff I had lying around the house. So what I've done here is I eliminated this coupling and eliminated the other end of the exhaust tubing. I'm just running an unbroken hose from right there all the way through there and out. There's still the small muffler that came with this unit inside that exhaust tubing there, the ductwork. So I've got this ductwork right here through the wall. This is cool to the touch, so this isn't hot enough to cause any kind of decay or burning or charring or whatever on the wood itself. I've got these cinder blocks right here that I brought inside, and you can see these two were already inside, so they're completely dry. These were outdoors, so they've still got some moisture they've got to get rid of. And then I've got these little plates along the top here with some wires, and the wires are just holding up this hose so it remains relatively level and doesn't dip through there and allow condensate to build up inside. So it's just very much level all the way across here to there. There's a slight downward gradient because this is roughly 2 inches lower elevation wise than the curve right there on that pipe, or about 4 inches lower than the actual exhaust outlet. So as far as temperature goes, I measured this temperature to be about 650 degrees at that elbow, and then over here I was able to measure this at about 120 degrees Fahrenheit earlier. So that's, yeah, so I can have my hand on that. It's pretty warm, so that means I'm recovering a fair amount of heat from that pipe there. Now you can see I've got a little fan that's blowing air up there, which means that there is a small breeze of air coming out here. This is slightly cool to the touch, but that's because the air in this room is about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. I just added this piece of galvanized ductwork here because I had it lying around, and it lets me have something that's kind of uniform instead of the floppity elephant trunk thing that was coming off of that. And also it's more radiative surface area. It doesn't change the amount of heat that's entering the room, of course. It just means that some of it gets to radiate out instead of just going straight up into the attic and never going to see it again. So let's have a talk about efficiency, safety, etc. on this. Efficiency-wise, that's an 8 kilowatt heater, supposedly. If we take them at their word, that means there's probably around 1,000 watts or so of wasted heat energy if you just lose everything that the exhaust has to do into the outdoors. Realistically, I'm not going to be able to recover anywhere near 100% of that, which means that the amount that I might be able to keep indoors, maybe it's half of that, which means maybe about 500 watts of extra heat energy gets to stay inside here instead of leaving to the outdoors. And that's not nothing, but that's like half a hairdryer worth of heat. As for safety, that's a piece of unbroken stainless steel tubing that goes straight across and out, which means that there are no opportunities for any kind of leaks in there. It's kept relatively level the entire way along by these little plates that are tied with some wire to keep it up along the top of the cinder block so it doesn't sag anywhere along there. And that means that it should remain in vapor state all the way through there and out. And then there's the muffler that came with that thing outside. That piece of tubing right there that goes through the wall is insulated with rockwool to keep the hot part right in the center of it and not contact any of the edges. So the shell of that is cool to the touch because the other side of it is outdoors in the cold. This piece of ducting right here is a piece of ducting made to handle air, and it is not tied tightly onto this. I can actually feel a bit of cool air being sucked in here, like Venturi effect. So cool air is being drawn in here and accelerated along there, and then comes out with the heated air as more air volume. I've got this little thermal camera. I do not advise the Uni-T UTI 80P. It's not a very good product, and it's also difficult to get thermal readings off optically reflective stuff like galvanized pipe, so that's not going to be very meaningful. But as an example, you can see here that it sure looks like that part of the heater outlet right there is extremely hot. When you look at it in the thermal camera, hot diggity dang, it looks hot. But really, this is like maybe 80 Fahrenheit. Like, this is super cool. It's slightly warm to the touch, cooler than body temperature, not hot at all. by the time the air actually gets over here and is able to contact this, this becomes fairly hot. This becomes, yeah, that's too hot to keep my hand on long term. Maybe like 135, 140 Fahrenheit. I'm not a calibrated thermometer, but that's pretty hot. That is not. It's just that this thermal camera can't get a good reading off an optically reflective pipe. The other part of it is, since I've got the exhaust tubing running through these cinder blocks, a couple things that does for me. One of them, it just keeps it protected so that things won't fall against it and possibly burn or whatever. It just a little extra safety for me. I've got it tied up with those metal plates and some metal wires so that it stays level, so that soot and condensate and stuff doesn't build up in there. And if we look at it with the thermal camera, we can see that there's kind of a hot spot there. And I think that might be where this fan I've got down here is blowing air up into that. It's just a fan I had lying around. It blows air into that, and that's kind of, I think, where the majority of the heat is being deposited from that initial blow. It might also be that the tubing has a slight bend and comes a bit closer to the cinder block there. But it gives us a warm spot there. Again, this thing is kind of deceptive because if I put my hand physically on it, that feels like warmer than the ambient air temperature in here, but like maybe 60 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe 65 Fahrenheit. It's not that warm, and this is the hottest part. These guys here, well, those two were stored indoors. Those three were stored outdoors, so they've still got quite a bit of moisture in them that has to bake out over time. I'm sure they'll do that. I've got air blowing through here from that tiny fan, so I can feel a breeze, and this is relatively cool air. This is probably where most of those recovered BTUs are located. As for biological safety, like CO and CO2 and stuff like that, this garage was built in like 1937 or something. It's pretty leaky. It doesn't have any insulation in the walls. The roof is not insulated at all. There's a big old gap along the bottom of the garage door. There's like a 1-inch gap at the top of this window here, and there's a window over here that's not very well sealed either because it's just an old house window that someone loosely nailed in decades ago. There's a lot of perforations in this building. That's part of why this heater only brings it up to like 50 degrees Fahrenheit when it's cold outside. I don't really think that I've got any kind of, carbon monoxide building up in here. I could probably burn the diesel straight up on the ground and not really have too much to worry about health-wise. So I think I'm okay in that regard. I'm sensitive to the smell of diesel. I used to be a truck driver and I smelled an awful lot of it. That can right there doesn't leak, and I don't smell exhaust unless I go outside and stand right next to the exhaust outlet. Speaking of the outside, you can see here the places on the garage where it's leaking a lot. You've got right up there by the eaves directly above the heater. You've got the window, you've got the exhaust down there at the bottom, and you've got the corner of the room over there on the left. And here's the big one. If you ever wanted to see why it's important to insulate your garage door, I'm losing a lot of heat through that for sure. I made this video to share my experience using one of these diesel heaters in my garage to make it bearable to work out here in winter because it gets pretty cold this far north. I've tried using stuff like these little buddy heaters right here. This doesn't make nearly as much heat. It's nice to have it immediately next to me while I have to do work, especially when I have to do it outside where there's no hope of heating the outdoors. But having someplace to warm my hands and my tools up, and even like fluids, sometimes you have to warm up fluids so that they'll be fluid when you want to use them. Great for that, but the little buddy doesn't stand a chance of warming up a room like this. Plus, all the CO2 from burning that is in here. Now, it's not as bad as CO, but it's still in here. I tried kerosene heaters. I can't do electric heat out here because I only have 20 amp 110 volt service to the garage, and this thing makes like 5 times more heat than I could ever hope to get that way just in raw wattage or BTUs. So that's the winner. It's also very inexpensive to run. I don't run a wood stove out here because that would require a lot more room. It would require a lot more care. I'd have to feed it wood. I'd have to store wood somewhere. I live in the middle of a city, so there's not really easy access to just firewood. I don't have acreage. I can go chop my own. That really is the right answer for me. And the next answer is going to be insulating this garage a bit.